Today's verdict, one more step toward justice. Activists and faith leaders say we have to push for change in policing and policing institutions as well. Joining me now is Pastor Mike McBride. He's the founder of Berkeley's Way Church and director of the Live Free campaign. Pastor Mike, thank you for being with us. First of all, I want to ask you, where were you when that verdict came down? What did you think? And most importantly, what did you feel?
Well, I was on the phone with many of my organizers across the country. The words of the sacred text rang in my ears. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We're perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Cast down, but not destroyed. We're relieved about the verdict. We're happy for the family who can use this as a source of healing and closure for a wound that they'll carry the rest of their lives. Grateful to all our comrades who carried an unbelievable burden in organizing both in Minnesota and across the country, but we're still clear that we have a long ways to go.
Now, I know that you marched in Ferguson after the death of Michael Brown, and you told me last week on Race in America that police brutality is a historical reality that dates back 400 years for people of color in this country. Does today's verdict change that at all for you?
Oh, no, it doesn't change it. There were folks who were literally killed today by police officers across this country. A 15-year-old in Columbus, Ohio, was killed by cops just as the verdict was ringing out, according to some of our organizers. And so this is an important verdict because literally our humanity continues to be on trial. But I want to say the country is still on trial. There is a presumption of innocence for the systems and its players that is not extended to people in Black and brown communities. And so until that changes, these one-offs, though important, are not adequate. They're reprieves, but they are not transformational. So we're relieved for the verdict, but we know that there's still much work to do, and we cannot turn away from the work that lies before us.
So does this give you any measure of comfort for those that have died before, though, and maybe all the other names of Black men that we don't know that have suffered injustice before?
I am against collective punishment, and so I am also against the notion that collective justice is adequate. We need radical transformation in the law enforcement and public safety apparatus in this country. I hope that many of us who are committed to freedom and justice, Angela Davis says freedom is a constant struggle, right? That we cannot allow ourselves to lose focus. We should take today's verdict and maintain the momentum that is required to literally transform the systems. And here in the Bay Area, we have much work to do in Oakland, in Stockton, in Antioch, in Berkeley, in Richmond, California. So we must continue to push for the radical transformation we need by literally reimagining the public safety apparatus, ensuring that we do not depend solely on the violence of the system to respond to the worst conditions of our people that are systemic and historical in kind.
Very, very quickly, what are the first two things you want to see changed?
Well, I definitely want us to continue to reimagine public safety by removing resources from the law enforcement apparatus and putting them into alternatives to public safety that are more community-centered. Oakland has a wonderful program standing up called Macro that will be in the fire department. We have the Office of Violence Prevention that continues to need funding. These kind of models being scaled up across the country. President Biden has put $5 billion into the infrastructure bill for more community public safety options. Yes. We can start to resource a different response to the worst conditions of our community, but it requires courageous elected officials to act before the bodies hit the ground. That is what I think we need to push for.
Well, Pastor McBride, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you so much. I do hope that today gives you some measure of hope and comfort that people all across this country are all saying in unison that Black lives do matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.